Yeah, this is William Drosky, William Some Business Essential, providing you with another enlightening and informative video here during the end of the calendar year. Because the truth shall actually set you free, and the truth shall set you free, because there are just so many people out just fleecing the sheep there, and pretending to be Christian, and putting out tear ducts there, sort of like the crying game.
The truth shall set you free.
Yeah, because of that crying game there with people like Jimmy Swaggart and his TV ministries there. It's like pretty evident that it's starting to spill out on these YouTube personalities, which I'm going to be bringing up with Sage Wanderer, who has a YouTube channel, and there are just some inconsistencies there that aren't quite kosher or up to par on presenting this whole truth. And yet he goes goes as far as putting on Trail of Tears and to get you on this sympathy matter, which I'm going to be providing quite a few video footages of his actual statements there, and like a belief system there. When I talk about belief system there, there's distorted belief system, and there's like people that have misguided belief systems here, by and large. Because like my one of my associates across the pond there in England there, Peter Bowes, who is like a minister or has like a book out promoting as like the gospel before, which we were on this rise.com forum called Truth Seekers. And we've been like on it for like several years, and like it turns out that it's evident that these people weren't really actually truth seekers, or pretty much like it was pretty much like ran by leftist ideologues. But I digress there.
That I proved beyond a reasonable doubt to myself that the 17 missing years of Jesus' life, from the age of 13 to 30, that he had traveled to the east on the Spice Road. I talk about that a lot on this channel. And that there he engaged in setting up a ministry in India. There's a whole story there. Later on, he would find himself in Tibet, where he is reported to have written a book, which is the earliest gospel sayings. Things like the Golden Rule and the Greatest Commandment are included in those writings that the Buddhist monks claim they have in their possession to this day. And all along the pathway between Middle East and Tibet are these little towns and watering holes that are still there today. Names like where Jesus turned the bitter water sweet, where Jesus healed the lepers. And so it's reported in some ancient writings that Jesus left the Holy Land and traveled to the Far East, doing miracles and teaching and preaching along the way, starting at his bar mitzvah. There's a missing section of his life. We have the nativity, his birth, then we have his bar mitzvah at the age of 12 or 13, and then nothing until he's 30 years old. Now, Christians will explain this away and say he was busy being a carpenter, but I'm going to offer you a theory. Once again, Coffee talks over things I find interesting but don't necessarily believe. I kind of believe this one. I can't prove it, but I think it all comes together and makes sense.
If that's the case there, the missing years, is, he actually, left, the Holy Land to travel east there, to Tibet or, India there. Why isn't it, even, mentioned in the four Gospels, or even the Gospel of John, that you hold so dearly there? The thing is, I've done a little homework there with this other things, the life, the only known years of Saint Isa, which it seems like this other book publication is written by Nicholas Nicola there, which I discussed quite extensively on one of my videos there on my channel, which I'll bring it up which he's been discredited there. And to go on further, which I take great lengths to ask, and then the question Q&A there on the videos on L.A. Marzulli. L.A. Marzulli comes to the same consensus that I kind of come to, which this can't really be substantiated, and if it can't really be proven there, these Buddhist monks claim they have the text there. Where are the documents there, and why aren't they fully published there? And why aren't they totally mainstream there? Since we have all this mainstream religions are promoting all these four gospels, and even some of them are kind of compromised. Protestantism is compromised, as well as Roman Catholicism is compromised, as well with the many other denominations as well. But it's neither here nor there. But it seems you've been falling for this great lie, that this propaganda promoted by Nicholas Nicola there. Seems like you gonna be falling in this hireling category there. But let's go on further with another video there.
Christianity, although giving of gifts was something that was present. In the early days of Christianity, prior to the Council of Nicaea and the canonization of the Bible, in the very dawning days of Christianity, it was pretty much established that Christ was actually born on May 20th. But this time was very close to Easter and the celebration of the Resurrection Day, and they ended up moving this to the winter time. And yes, it was because the winter solstice was part of so many cultures, and it was steeped in paganism, and still to this day, you will see witches on the beaches on December 21st celebrating the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, the night of death and rebirth in paganism, because it's the day that the sun starts getting, the days start getting longer instead of shorter. Thank goodness, the days are getting longer as of December 21st. So, headed towards summer. But that's not really the reasoning behind it. The reasoning behind it was that it was also around the same time in December was when St. Nicholas, a famous Christian saint, passed away. And so they already had this St. Nicholas feast that was going on in December. And they did set the date to kind of compete with the paganistic winter solstice celebrations. But in the early church, prior to the Council of Nicaea, there was a man named Nicholas who lived in a place called Myra, which was a coastal city of Asia Minor, which is now Turkey, and it was on the Mediterranean. It was a major port. He was born of wealth and privilege. One of the earliest stories of...
Yeah, this is William there. It's like, I'm just like open up this book of like, which is the Holy Bible there, King James Version. But I got to open up to book of Mark, which is on chapter 6, which a lot of people want to claim that Jesus was not a carpenter. But I'm just going to like a close up there, where it said like on chapter 6, verse 3, where it states just like from like the book, Good Book of the Psalter, is this not the carpenter and the son of Mary, the brother of James and Moses and Judah and his mom, and are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended at him. Quite interesting there. But I think like do like another little thing on St. Nicholas, which often gets overlooked. There's like a picture of St. Nicholas there. It was like someone like got dressed up as St. Nicholas there. What's with the mitre hat? The mitre hat that he's wearing. And here's a statue, which is like probably made like from the Catholics there. Again, why is he wearing a mitre hat? Again, there's another picture of him there. Again, where's the mitre hat? Why is he wearing this mitre hat? The thing is let me fix this camera up. But the answer to that question is that it comes from the deity Dagon. So basically, it's like Dagon and how was he worshipped, which he had temples all throughout Mesopotamia. And in the Bible, the major temples were in the old cities of Dagon, Gaza, and Ashdod. He was worshipped through sacrifices and feasts. Sacrifices were common in the ancient world, even to the God of Israel, through food and animals. Israel specifically prohibited the sacrifice of humans and drinking of blood, common in most other regions at the time. It is highly likely human sacrifice was common for Dagon as well. Another interesting account of Dagon worship had people making a master weapon and sending it as a gift. In the account of Samson, there was singing and dancing to praise Dagon. And a part of the worship was to bring Samson up before 3,000 people, mocking him and showing how great their God was, to give them victory over the mighty warrior Samson. So what happened to Dagon in the Bible? Dagon is, like I mentioned, in two parts of the Old Testament. The first in Judges 16 as part of the Samson account. As a recap, Samson was one of the deliverers chosen by God, and he beat the Philistines at every turn with his legendary strength. The Philistines couldn't beat him in battle, so they attacked his weakness, foreign women. The infamous Delilah seduced Samson, secret out of him, cutting his hair, and he was captured by the Philistines. They put out his eyes and put him to work as a slave. In the book of Judges, while they worshiped Dagon and having a huge party, they decided to bring Samson in to humiliate him and gloat over his defeat. And obviously this was part of the worship of Dagon. Now, like for polytheistic cultures, when nations went to war, it was also understood that the gods of the different people groups also fought. And the Old Testament reveals this in many passages, both with Israel and other cultures as well. Elijah and the prophets of Baal is an excellent example. Like 1 Kings chapter 18 with Samson. The Philistines were making a statement. Dagon had beaten Jehovah, Samson's God, and therefore Dagon was mightier than the God of Israel. And it makes sense that the God would respond to Samson's plea to help him one last time. God's assistance in killing the Philistines wasn't about Samson as much as it was to declare which god was stronger. In fact, Dagon wasn't even real. Just a human-made idol. God is reality. He is the only one worthy of worship and glory. The next time we see Dagon dealt with is in 1 Samuel chapter 5. The sons of Eli, the priest, the leader of the Israel, were wicked religious men. And even though the Ark of the Covenant went into battle with Israel against the Philistines, God handed Israel a defeat as a punishment. And the Ark of the Covenant was taken captive by the Philistines. Just like Samson, the Philistines took the Ark into the temple at one of their city-states, Ashdod. They put the Ark at the feast of the big statue of Dagon as a symbol of the victory. Dagon had beat Jehovah, right? It didn't last long, but the first morning the Philistines went into the temple to find the statue of Dagon falling over and bowing to the Ark. They set the idol back up on his feet, and the morning after, the idol had fallen again. But this time, Dagon's hands and head had been removed and placed in the doorway of the temple. Now, 1 Samuel 5, chapter 5, verse 5 tells us that from then on, the priests of Dagon wouldn't even go near the idol since they were made afraid of it. Just fell over. The idol literally had no reputation of falling over and being dangerous. Now, I think it was God wasn't done yet. The people in Ashdod started getting tumors and dying. And this epidemic spread to nearby villages. The Philistines were dying left and right. And they were much in panic. And they sent the Ark to the city of Gath. Tumors spread and killed people. And they sent the Ark to the city of Elkon. And you guessed it, some more people got tumors. So it's like a story of that. It's pretty interesting there. That's the whole thing with a little bit with the idol. Despite the worldview of the Philistines, the defeat of Israel wasn't a defeat of their God. God didn't need the army of Israel to fight for him. He won all on his own, in fact. But it's like I probably put the rest of the things link in the description. But obviously, closing out there with the article. There's like Dagon, the idols we have will come down, just to prove that the idol was powerless. God literally removed the statue's hands and threw them across the room. And those powerless hands were the first thing that the priests of Dagon saw when they entered the temple. It's a pretty interesting thing there, Ben. Looks like I tried to link in the description there. There was who was Dagon. Can you see where I'm getting at? Because everything started when people decided they wanted to have green plants inside. But it didn't matter what kind of tree it was, as long as it was green. But the thing is like according to folklore, beliefs in green plants or trees protected people from various evil forces, such as malevolent spirits, and also explains why mistletoe was so sacred. Of course, during the winter, and when the days are dark and cold, green plants and trees remind us that the sun, S-U-N, will return, and we may embrace warmer days eventually. But the Vikings believed spirits known as Vitter, also which is the same thing as Swedish, lived in trees. And they didn't want these tiny creatures to freeze during winter. So they took the trees inside, letting the spirits enjoy warmth and cozy atmosphere at home. But with the first Christmas tree, as a legend first has it, legend star has it that the first Christmas tree can be traced back to Saint Boniface, an 18th century missionary to the pagan tribes in the land that known as Germany. When the saint learned in 723 AD that the people worshipped the donor oak, or the donor oak, whatever it's called, thunder oak, dedicated to the Norse god Thor. Well, he chopped it off, and it sounds like a horrible thing to do. But Saint Boniface argued Thor was not a real god. So what are those pagan origins of Christmas? But did you know, people ancient Rome celebrated the winter solstice with the festival of Saturnalia. Of course, it was meant. It was meant as a way to celebrate and give thanks to the Roman god of agriculture, Saturn. And by the way, by the time the winter solstice came out, the last planting season had been completed. Thus, the ancient Romans could have happily engaged in an entire week of festivities. And the Saturnalia festival was usually celebrated between the 17th and 24th of December. It's Romans used to hang small metal ornaments on the trees outside their home during that festival. And each ornament had some kind of association with a god or even a family's patron saint. And then of course, the Roman poet Catullus in his poem Marriage of the pillars or theaters spoke of the gods decorating the home of Pelos with the evergreen trees like laurel and or the laurel or cypress. And evergreen trees and wreaths and garlands made them were significant. Garlands made of them were significant to the Egyptians, Hebrews, and the Chinese, and they represented eternal life. Romans gave each other small gifts during the Saturnalia festival in the hope of a bountiful harvest. The next day, and it was a way of wishing each other good luck. Now, even the Christmas carols have ancient roots. Did you know that? The Christmas carols in themselves and their lyrics might be more modern, but the tradition is probably Anglo-Saxon. And that tradition was going door to door and singing to your neighbors was called wassailing. Now, it came from the phrase wassail or waswail, meaning good health. Now, every year these singers would roam around the village in small groups, serenading their neighbors and wishing away evil spirits and bad health. Holly and mistletoe were both sacred plants for pagans. Kissing under mistletoe and decorating homes with holly were originally pagan traditions. Now, they have become such a part of Christmas that it would be difficult to imagine the holiday without them. Now, during Saturnalia, the Romans would exchange wreaths made up of holly for good luck. Holly was a holy plant that was associated with Saturn and the god of agriculture. The early Christians were lucky that the festival of Saturnalia almost coincided with Jesus' birth. But since they were often persecuted, Saturnalia gave them a cover to celebrate their own festival without being discovered. Thus, they began to take on the pagan customs and decorated their homes with holly to make it look like they were celebrating Christmas. Kissing under mistletoe is one of the most popular traditions, and it also has pagan roots. Take the ancient Norse Celts and the Druids, who were all obsessed with mistletoe to a certain extent. Also, the plant was considered sacred to Saturn, and it would be perform fertility rituals under it. In other words, they had sex under the mistletoe plants for the sake of a bountiful harvest. But that's concludes this article. It's with this thing with Christmas, and I don't believe he was born on December 25th, so many people want to portray it there. This is William Jurowski. Remind you to check your money tree and share this video far and wide, and don't forget to subscribe.